I see you. I see.
I bring it down like.
I see you. I see.
I bring it down like.
Lofi Poli Sci, Michael Pickering bringing that famous question. What's going on in the world today? And we got a little lo-fi local for you up top, peeps, because season 8 is here. And for all you new lo-fi listeners out there, ways to listen, ways to follow the show. We got YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google. Follow us on Insta. Check us out on lofipolisci.com. There's so many ways to stay connected. And stay connected. We got so many guests. We got so many live shows going on this season. See, stay in the know with the show. And this season will be running 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Monday's always going to do that lo-fi global news for you. Always got to start the week with what's going on in the world today. Tuesdays, we got lots of top 10 lists for you. Tomorrow we got biggest countries, and later on we got richest countries. We got most corrupt countries. Oh yeah, we bringing it this season, peeps. And Wednesday we'll go back and forth between lo-fi global news and lo-fi regional news. And I think next week we got Lo-Fi Regional Caribbean edition. So we gotta see what's been going down in the Caribbean lately. But for today, we're going back to the beginning of season 7. We're going back to January of this year to give all you new lo-fi listeners out there and you returning lo-fiers out there a little recap refresh of the 10 most important international events going on in 2023 that we made at the very beginning of the year in January. Now it's 8 months later. Time to see how they're doing today. So this is how we'll do it. We'll do a quick rundown of the whole list, number 10 to number 1, and then we'll go back over it one by one and just give you a little snippet of what's been happening the past 8 months with it. So let's go. Number 10, global protest. Number 9, the utility of the United Nations. Number 8, Russian-Ukrainian war. Number 7, the European Union. Number 6, South America opening up to Venezuela. Number 5, China's One Belt and Road Initiative. Number 4, the implementation of COP27's Recovery Fund by the United Nations. Number 3, military coups and African development. Number 2, Latin American states of emergencies. And number 1, women's rights globally. All right, that's the list, and I know it's a lot to take in, so let's dig a little deeper into each one of these and give you a what's up with what's been happening lately. So number 10, global protests, and they're still kicking off in lots of different places. For instance, this summer, environmental activist Greta Thunberg was arrested for not obeying a police officer at a protest. So still environmental protests going on all over the place. And there have been massive protests in Israel all summer long and before, trying to stop a new law that would strip the judiciary, the Supreme Court, of some of its independence. And we are walking up on 1 year since the beginning of the protests for women's rights in Iran. But more on that in a second, people. Number 9, the utility of the United Nations. And specifically, we were talking about the United Nations Security Council. And oh, they're struggling. They are still struggling so much all year long. They have barely agreed on anything. And most of it, well, that's because of number 8, the Russian-Ukrainian war, which is still going on, and if anything, it's just getting worse. Number 7, the European Union. And weirdly enough, a couple years ago, the EU were going through hard times, and I'm not saying they're going through easy times right now, but they're pulling themselves together a bit, especially because of the Russian-Ukrainian war, because some of the EU members are really on the doorsteps of that war, so they want to make sure they got protection in the EU. Number 6, South America opening up to Venezuela. And slow rolling news on this one, my friends. They reopened a bridge between Colombia and Venezuela, which just happened a few months back, and diplomatic relations have returned to those two countries, but not everyone's rolling out as quickly as we thought they might on this one. So here's to the ground. We're still looking to see what's up. Number 5, China's One Belt and Road Initiative. Their objective to connect the world by land, air, and sea and trade routes and just make a lot of money. And this has become a major lifeline to Russia, North Korea, and lots of other places that are looking for alternatives from funding from the West. And this is all full speed ahead right now and has been all summer long, especially since China no longer has that zero-tolerance COVID lockdown policy. Number 4, the implementation of COP27's Recovery Fund by the United Nations. Nothing Yeah, I was quite right there because that's about all we've heard about this, people. The creation of it. Yeah, we heard about that back in January. Nothing else since. Number 3, military coups in African development. Country of Niger just had a military coup, and ECOWAS, a Western African economic community, is thinking of intervening. We'll see how that goes, and we'll give you more on that really soon, people. Number 2, Latin American states of emergencies. Ecuador has had some real major developments as of lately. One of their presidential candidates for the country, right, was assassinated. And even before that, a couple of their provinces had states of emergencies implemented across the entire province. El Salvador, still in a nationwide state of emergency. Lots going on. And number 1, women's rights globally. So we mentioned the women's protests in Iran. Well, latest word is the government of Iran is putting together a way to start enforcing dress codes for women in public again. So we could start hearing a lot more about this really soon. And women's rights in Afghanistan? Well, this summer, beauty salons have been closed by the government. Things just keep getting worse. And that's just so quick of an update to the state of these 10 global events that we've been watching since January. And we'll definitely be talking about these all season long as we go along. But, always, people, send me your words, send me your questions. We don't have time to dive into it all, but if you think something, send it on in. And that's just a snap of what's going on in the world today.
I bring it down like.
Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Pickering, signing off.